Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Julian Torres, and today I will be discussing the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, also known as DACA. So this program was established back in 2012 during the Obama administration. In June of that year, this program was passed as an executive order. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind because it affects the way that it currently functions, right? As opposed to legislations or laws, an executive order makes it subject to legal changes. But we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so this program was approved in June of 2012, and they began to take applications that same year in August. So the word deferred simply means to delay or postpone. So that's exactly what DACA does. It postpones the deportation for certain individuals. And these individuals are usually referred to as dreamers. And it postpones the deportation for 2 years by allowing them to receive a work permit. However, I do want to point out that it does not grant legal status. Okay? So, the name Dreamers actually came from a preceding legislation, or rather, one that they tried to pass. Back in August 2001, the DREAM Act was introduced. And DREAM is actually an acronym for Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors. So what they wanted was to allow children who had been brought to the U.S. through no volition of their own to have opportunities in our country, such as legal status, and therefore obtaining employment and their college degree. However, it was never passed. So that's when, in 2012, the Obama administration was like, well, how can we help these dreamers, right? Because their parents came in to the U.S. without the children's consent, basically. Technically, I believe that they're not at fault, right? Imagine your parents brought you to another country as a child, and you grow up and now that you're an adult, you need to fend for yourself, right? So that's what they wanted to help with. They wanted dreamers to be able to survive. And so that's what DACA allows for it to happen. That's why they deemed it necessary. And again, remember that I said it was a program created as an executive order. So it's been an ongoing issue since then, especially throughout different administrations that have taken place, right? So in 2021, President Biden fortified the program, and then again in 2022, it replaced Obama's original memorandum that created the program. So overall, the program they wanted to solve was the deportation of dreamers. So DACA began as a protection status. So we can see here, and this is actually from 2012, we can see how immigration and deportation has changed since the beginning. So we can see that in 2012, a total of 355,889 got accepted. And then we do see that some of them did get rejected. It looks like about 12,000 got rejected. And then we can see that in Texas, we received a total of 57,542 applications. And then as of 2024, we see this population here of 84,000 were accepted, and then 99% of them have a high school diploma, and then 46% have college education. So it does look like there currently is an ongoing litigation in the Fifth Circuit, where they ruled that the protection from deportation for these individuals is legal, but that the lawful presence component is unlawful. So it's kind of contradicting, but again, it is something that they're working on resolving. Okay. So from this information, we can gather the goals. We can see the manifest and the latent goals, where the manifest goals are that these dreamers be protected, right? And the latent goals is that by giving them this sort of opportunity, it brings in money to our economy through taxes. And also at the time of the Obama administration, it also did help him to get reelected because he got a lot of support from the Latino community. So let's go over the actual eligibility rules. So looks like you must have been under the age of 31 as of June 15 of 2012. And must have been in the U.S. before reaching your 16th birthday, and also have continuously resided in the U.S. since June of 15 of 2007, and at the time of filing your request for DACA. And then also must have been physically present in the U.S. on June 15 of 2012, and at the time of filing for your request. And then, of course, had no lawful immigration status on June 15 of 2012 and at the time of filing your request. And then that you were currently enrolled in school or have graduated, as well as obviously, had no felonies or significant misdemeanors. Okay. So that brings us to the other eligibility rules here. Obviously, there are some required forms that need to be filled out. And these forms here, it's 4 forms that need to be submitted. And these both have to be submitted both for the initial and the renewal requests. Okay. We have here the Form I-821D, and there is a fee of $85. There's also the Form I-765 with a fee of $470 to $520. Then we also have the Form I-765WS, which WS just stands for worksheet. And then another form that is optional for notifications, which is G1145. And of course, you need the supporting evidence, such as proof of your identity and proof of the presence and residence from June of 2007 to the present. And then just a couple of photos and of course the filing fees. And then if you SCIS request additional information, then you can go ahead and submit that to them. And then if you do get approved, you'll receive that letter in the mail. And then they will also make an appointment for biometrics. And this is just where they take the picture for your actual work permit ID. And then they'll also make the appointment for your social security card. And again, this does not grant legal status. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the effectiveness, right? That's the question. Is this program effective? Well, it looks like it took off very effectively, but now it looks like there may be some issues surrounding it. In January of last year, we had Texas versus the U.S., which again is what I mentioned earlier in the presentation. It may potentially be unlawful, and this was reiterated in March of 2025, where this became final. And so it looks like now we're just waiting to see how it will be implemented. However, keep in mind this is for Texas only, so it does vary per state. Okay. Now, because of this issue, we are seeing some delays, and because of these delays, we're also seeing freezes, and some recipients are also being deported or held in detention. So in conclusion, it looks like DACA lacks that long-term permanence. So recipients in Texas do run the risk of no longer being able to access a work permit. So this does have a significant impact on their personal and economic well-being. And in turn, the U.S. will not benefit from their skills and contributions. So it does look like DACA needs bipartisan support in order for a more effective program, right? So that concludes this presentation. I hope that you enjoyed and learned something, and thank you for joining us.